As I bolted down the hallway, hysteria was hot on my trail, giving chase in, well, as terrifying a manner as you could possibly imagine. Her broken and shuttered movements, rapidly trailing down the hallway behind me, leaving streaks of blood wherever she passed, screaming wildly, flailing about with that blade, slashing into the halls, the walls, the floor, tearing through busts and statues, simply cutting apart anything in her path as she rapidly followed me. Okay, Keven, think. Think. It's time to brain, Keven. If there was any time to have a bright idea, right now would definitely be it. Can't kill whatever the hell hysteria is, and Alice is out there, just watching. This is all a big game to her. How the hell do you turn the tables in this situation? In a head-to-head confrontation, I can't take her, and that blade of hers can just cut right through my armor. I'm absent one arm because of it. There's gotta be something you can do. I am so sick of playing her game, and it only just started. Think, Keven. Think, I said to myself frantically as I tore through the hallway, hysteria following close behind. Luckily, I was the faster of the two, so she was having trouble keeping up. Okay, first things first. I need to ditch hysteria, but she only gets stronger the more you hurt her. So how to deal with that? Okay, what if I don't fight her? This isn't gonna be easy. I don't have much liquid steel left. Most of it went into the production of the liquid metal spirit, and she locked him away inside of a clock with that crazy-ass rabbit. Is that the one they were talking about from Wonderland? She did say Wonderland Gate, so I guess so. Hell, if I'm lucky, the heavy metal spirit is having better luck than me. The remainder that I have left when it comes to liquid steel is slight. But my armor isn't that much use against Alice. It is more useful against hysteria, but at her current power level, I think I can stop her, or at least slow her down. At the very least, get her off my tail for a little bit. But then what to do about Alice? I can't exactly get away from her. She's tracking me after all. No sense ditching one problem if I have no solution for the next. I have to stop her from tracking me. Give me time to think. But she can hear my heartbeat. So how the hell do I deal with that? Hear my footsteps, hear my heartbeat, hear my movement. The only way to evade her is to be completely silent. Actually, Keven, I think there's a way that we can manage it. Remember, the armor is able to absorb vibrations at a much higher level than many other materials. It can even rechannel those vibrations. With a little bit of focus, we should be able to silence the armor, make no noise regardless of how much we move. We just have to get the right frequency and then null the armor to that frequency. This would also solve the problem of the heartbeat. We can simply make the armor refract the sound of your heartbeat, however slight it may be. Force it to bounce around inside of the armor. It won't get out, and thus she can't hear it. Okay, Nylea, I replied as she spoke into my head. That solves that problem, but what about my footsteps? Remember, Keven, the liquid metal is an incredibly versatile material. It does what you want it to. If we change it into its gel-like form and concentrate on nulling the vibrations created by your footsteps, we can make you virtually impossible to hear. Okay, I replied, thinking back to Nylea. So I can move silently. That might buy me some time. Let me evade Alice for a while. But that still doesn't solve the eventual case scenario of her getting sick, of looking for me, and of when she actually finds me. This is her world after all. There's only so much hiding that I can actually expect to be able to pull off. What happens when she actually finds me? We're still playing her game, dancing to her rhythm. It's so infuriating, I thought to myself as an idea popped into my head. Dancing to her rhythm. Yeah, that might work. Nylea, you said that if we use the liquid metal properly, that we can basically reflect light, right? That previous wielders have used it to become basically invisible. Yes, the liquid metal can form a substance that refracts the light around you and can basically make you invisible within the spectrum of perceivable light. Okay, how much liquid metal do I need for that? Well, not much. Invisibility alone, the ability to refract the light, it takes nothing but a small amount of the metal to do. Okay, Nylea. Now here's the most important follow-up question. Could you still see the metal being able to pull off multiple functions? Could it silence my heartbeat and movements while still being able to reflect the light around me and make me invisible within the spectrum? Well, I've never heard of any of my previous wielders trying to use all of those at once, but theoretically, I think it's possible. But having never done it, I can't be absolutely certain. Okay, I think I've got a plan. It's a little weird, but hopefully it'll let me turn the tables. I'm sick of dancing to her tune, so let's make her dance to ours. I'm gonna make it a heavy metal ballad, a headbanger for the ages. If I can't outpower her, then I'll outmaneuver her. Alright, Nylea, buckle up. Let's get this show on the road, I exclaimed as I began to gather what spare liquid metal I could from the exterior of my armor. There wasn't much left in terms of access. Honestly, I had to thin out the armor more than I'd like, but it was more than enough for the armor to stay present and at least be some form of protection, and gave me just enough liquid steel, an amount about the size of a softball. This should do it. I'm lucky I have this much to spare. Okay, game time, I said as I turned around, rapidly pulling to a stop in the hallway. Hysteria's screams heading in my direction as she began to catch up, my pace finally pulling to a halt. She screeched down the hallway, cutting through everything in her way. Come on, Hysteria. Let's play, I said as she approached. Just as she was beginning to get in range, I forced the liquid steel that I had gathered into a sphere to extend itself out into countless small chains, beginning to wrap around Hysteria's body, clinging tightly to her form, wrapping her limbs up around her, tight enough to constrict her movement, but not tight enough to actually cut into her. If she started increasing in size, I wanted a little bit of time before she got so big that she eventually broke them. The binding was enough, and Hysteria clattered to the ground, immediately increasing in size somewhat as the blades in her body shuddered and moved on impact. But there was still enough room in the chains that she didn't immediately break out or get too big for them. So I immediately took off down the hallway in the opposite direction, going as fast as I could. No fair. You didn't tell me you could change the liquid metal, that metal stuff that you're using, in all sorts of ways like that. Well, I suppose it's fair game. But it won't hold Hysteria forever. It doesn't have to, I exclaimed as I ran down the halls. Okay, Nylea, step 2. Let's make it happen, I exclaimed as I began to focus, trying to concentrate on making myself absolutely silent in everything, shifting the liquid metal around my feet into gel state, and trying to produce more of the gel state liquid metal in between all of the different segments of armor, silencing any physical contacts. And just as Nylea said, it all went silent. My footsteps, my movements, Even I couldn't hear it. What? Wait a second. Where are you? What happened to your heartbeat? Alice's voice called out. No fair. You didn't tell me you could do that. Ah, you're hiding. Even hiding your heartbeat. What kind of trick is that? Her voice echoed through the halls as I continued to run. Good. It's working. She can't hear me. Can't track me. Don't think that just because I can't hear you, that I won't be able to find you eventually. This is my mage space. I'm not going to be outdone by some no one in a suit of armor, and you won't be hiding forever. I will find you, little bunny.